summary for Thursday, April 7th, 2072 is brought to you by the Tri-Optimum Corporation. It's been a beautiful...
I feel that the whole world is looking at us to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. What about the circuit breakers? Can you tell me about what you feel the circuit breakers are there?
I think they help. I do. You'll shoot me out.
Visibility forecast for air traffic is hazy with pockets of Atlantic fog starting at 120 meters going into the weekend.
Well, I think everybody's anticipating the opening and what's going to happen, and most people think we'll open down, and hopefully it'll be a buying opportunity.
The production of electronic circuits requires high technical skills and complex processes.
Will celebrate its 10th year of this week. Citadel Station completed construction in 2062.
Backlogs and shortages that have some companies stockpiling goods in trailers and chartering private container ships. But these are temporary fixes.
System Shock needs no introduction. One of the coolest games I have played recently. Can't give Night Dive Studio enough thanks for creating such a cool retelling of an amazing story that really changed so much in the hemisphere of gaming. System Shock, the story, has a lot of components to it that are so relevant to today's society. What's going on with our usage in AI, what's going on with all sorts of different mega corporations taking control of a lot of the things that we do and use every day. There's a lot to get into about this. So System Shock, the game, was developed and released on December 23rd, 1994. The coolest thing about System Shock is its variety of weapons that you have inside the game, its original storytelling, and as I mentioned before, how it really plays into a lot of strange elements that are happening today that we see all over the place. Besides the really awesome pew-pews, laser guns, EMP guns, little tiny guns that you know are cool to look at, that do a lot of damage. There was a lot more that System Shock offered than just these cool new takes on a lot of things first-person shooters kind of made a trope of. A lot of the things inside System Shock, you can all tell were designed with thought for the story, thought for the larger environment, and just fits into a beautiful kind of unique environment and art style that was developed by some pretty knowledgeable artists and some pretty cool people who, you know, knew what they were trying to aim for. That being an AI megacorporation-backed cyber dystopia, in which our main player we play as, he's something of a super cool computer hacker man. You know, one of those people who does really cool stuff with breaking into systems, and you know, he's he's basically like having the full-on powers of an actual perceived what people think Reddit mods are capable of doing, pretty much, but just with guns, basically. For me, I gotta say, the biggest things that engaged me in System Shock and why it became such a cult classic when it was released back in the day is the ingenuity of the game itself. Everything from the art style, the design, how the weapons play, and just the overall mystery puzzle-solving aspect of the game itself. It creates these really unique breaks in gameplay development that isn't really present in a lot of games these days. Really, these days we're so used to running and gunning and just, you know, getting those kill streaks, making people cry online. Holy moly mom, get the camera, oh baby, a triple, get the camera type stuff. It's missing so much of what made System Shock such a joy to play through. I'm still playing through it right now, but I'm loving every moment of it. I haven't really been hooked onto a game like this since Halo Infinite. Amazing story, huge Halo fan, so I think it was incredible. And System Shock has a lot of these really unique qualities to it that offer a cycle of being able to play, getting an adrenaline pumping combat. You know, it's brutal. System Shock combat, especially in the remake version, is insane. It's very much so adrenaline inducing, and I think Night Dive Studios, once again, pause, please forgive the shout outs to them so much. They really did an incredible job. I don't believe in something that a lot of people call glazing nowadays, but System Shock really did a very good job on, I mean, Night Dive really did a very good job on this for sure. Anyway, back to the video. But it really did offer a nice cyclical, rewarding blend of deep combat, where you're very much so panting, as I have several times in fear, over hearing a creature, a sentry bot, something just around the corner, and I have like 4 bullets left in my mini pistol. It's not going to end well. But if we're talking about how well things are, System Shock does so many things beyond well. Developing a very, very gripping story that has a lot of elements that make it so frightening, but make it so fun to play. You are truly alone in this fight. Not going to spoil anything, of course, even though it is pretty old by this point. There is a major plot shift that happens that demonstrates this, you know, nothing could better demonstrate it than what happens at the end. And all the meanwhile, you're basically stuck in the trenches, just trying to survive this nightmare of all these spooky cyborgs and these scary, genetic experiments that gone wrong. All of them are trying to take you out. And it's just you in this fight alone. That fact, in combination with amplifying the cleverness of the player, is what really got me addicted to playing this game. It is something so unique, and I can understand 100% why this had a cult following, and why it was perfect for Night Dive to recreate this. They did it incredibly well, and they kept very, very true to the original fabric of what made System Shock, and still does make it so much fun, and not only so much fun, but so impactful to the overall story and the overall lineage of first-person shooter games as a whole.
I couldn't do that.
So Mike, when the movie comes out, who do you want to play you?
What was the game you just said?
When the movie comes out, who do you want to play you?
What movie?
The movie about this.
That game's great.
Me, I could use the work.
Okay, cool.
7.
Jake, who do you want to play you in the movie?
You.
You want me to play you? I have to play myself.
But then,
Well, then Jay, because at least his hair is short.
Then you have to go like this. You have to be walking and go on a slope greater than 15 degrees angle. Because of the bum leg, you know.
To really understand why System Shock had such a great impact and why it changed so many things and inspired so many upcoming titles, we really have to look at what makes it so intuitive for players and what gives it so much ingenuity for its time. In the good old-fashioned year of 1994, it's very, very samey in the way of you are limited by the hardware, you're limited by the RAM, you're limited by, and actually we're still pretty limited by RAM, actually. But going in more into the dystopianness of what makes the story so gripping, the coolest thing about this is that even though there were these technical limitations at the time, Looking Glass Studios was able to persevere past that and really created some technical achievements for the time that other studios didn't do. Specifically, some of the things that Looking Glass Studios did really well was actually being able to create one of the first games that used a true 3D environment. Really meaning that whenever you're looking up and down, in comparison to previous games that came out like Doom, and a few other ones around the time, there was no such thing as a true three-dimensional creation space for the character. who you're playing as. Really, back then, it was just more of a trick to make it look three-dimensional in those other games. System Shock, however, did create the first true 3D environments for the experience in the game, which is incredible. That's really a pioneering thing that paved the way for a lot of other games to understand how to do that as well. Not only that, but they influenced so many other games in their design and concept, like beloved games as BioShock, which, oh god, another video coming about that, by the way, as well, guys. I really hope you all, stick around for that one, because that one's going to be great. But it really did set the tone for such games like BioShock, like Dead Space, and the games like Singularity. Those really signature, dark, but fun experiences. But to truly understand the system of System Shock, we'll have to dig deeper into the elements that make up the amazing story that it revolves around. Specifically, some pretty crazy stuff that could be absolutely possible in the next couple of years with how insane everything is in the political world and the legal world. Talking about how System Shock and the world inside of System Shock got to the point it did revolves a lot of moving parts, specifically the megacorporations. So, megacorporations, they're a bit of a trope in all of the dystopian, sci-fi titles. Like with Cyberpunk, you got Arasaka and, Militech. In a bunch of different games, you have that same kind of factor. With System Shock, however, it was capitalized as a really crazy thing that could be a potential possibility in the next 10, 20 years. I wouldn't be surprised. Specifically, the first really crazy lore beat that this covers is something called the Haynes-Bishop Bill. This was originally passed sometime around 2051, I believe, in the lore, and this bill essentially allowed corporations to create entire governments. Think about that for a sec. That's pretty insane, huh? Could you imagine? Could you imagine, Amazon or Target or places like these nature that we use every day, essentially creating their own governments? If you've ever worked at one of these places, you know that they really kind of make their own rules. And a lot of the rules that they do make are not in the favor of the workers. That's for sure. Also, just a quick editor's note. I'm the editor. The Haynes-Bishop Bill was actually passed in 2031, not 2051. So, you see, guys, I do my research. Your subs are well given to somebody who actually cares about getting this right. So, I know for one, as I was playing through System Shock, I really took time to think, how could everything get to the point it's at? How could there be one corporation that produces and supplies majority of everything that everyone, it seems, on Earth uses? And it is confirmed that System Shock does, in the beginning at least, take place inside of Earth. Specifically, in the beginning, the hacker, our Hacker Man 3000 we play as, lives in a place called New Atlanta. And according to what the weather report is over there, it's pretty hot.
Temperatures are set to hit a monthly high of 28 degrees Celsius for the next...
New Atlanta, though, explores a lot of the really insane mega city development that was produced by one corporation has done. It's so crazy to think about, because if we have one corporation in our real world that starts producing products for the same military, the same consumer, so having a toaster company produce Kevlar body armor for, personnel, it's not entirely out of the question. It's kind of insane how accurate they got this and how relevant it is to what's going on now. But with this much capital, this much sheer amounts of buying power, manpower, the human presence behind these corporations became such that by 2059, after the Hayes-Bishop Bill was passed, just, 24, 22 years beforehand, the last vestiges of what is known in our world as a, democracy-based society America made up of states and countries made up of unions, other things of this nature, were all silently, assembled and assimilated into the tri-optimum agreement, the tri-optimum sphere of presence, and it truly dominated a whole hemisphere of the planet. Looking Glass, you guys really nailed it. I can't go a day without seeing the same 3 logos pretty much everywhere, and you know exactly which 3 logos I'm talking about. And speaking of the presence and the power of these 3 modern-day corporations we have now, it escalated to being the impetus of what gives System Shock its scary reality that binds into today, is the simple fact that without balance and checks on these, systems of business and legally being able to assemble entire governments, which just blows my mind. It's in this entire factoid that we really find how it leads into being completely relevant today. It's no secret that there are a handful of corporations, a handful of businesses that truly do govern so much in our day-to-day lives. I mean, and this is just speaking for what I know, which is very little even in America. It's just one of those things where even though I've lived here my whole life, growing up, I see these same corporations that rise to prominence and become irrelevant, and rise to prominence and become irrelevant. But imagine those people and those corporations having the ability to do or say how you live your life. This is truly one of the scariest parts about System Shock, and why I think it's such a unique take on what's happening in our business-centered world, and what makes the story just so incredible. Oh, God. This game is so good. Like, seriously, guys, if you haven't downloaded this yet, please go and play it. It's like a perfect game. It is so good. I would say this is just right next to Halo Infinite, right next to Halo 3, right next to Mass Effect. It's just one of those stories where it takes about a new angle or a tried angle and does it in its own way, and it just is so great. Anyway, that really goes into today how it's relevant that pretty much we know every corporation we're using here is running on some sort of AI. I mean, there's AI data centers that are going up left and right that are consuming a lot of resources. This is especially relevant because in the story of System Shock, I think it was by the year 2061, the main corporation who we end up inevitably fighting the robots against, we just like, bah! We fight the robots because the robots are trying to eat us. No, that's Quake. The robots are trying to kill us. Anyway, we basically take these people on because they have gained full power, full presence, and full ability to buy a orbit of Saturn. Yeah, these guys here bought an entire orbit of a planet. And they did this so they could construct the premiere of colonization for humans, and the premiere of, look how crazy good of an organization, look how powerful our corporation is that we have transcended living on Earth. You think having a headquarters in New York or having a headquarters in Atlanta is good? Dude, these guys have their headquarters up in space. Like, think about that for a minute. Imagine putting on your LinkedIn you worked at this company, Tri-Optimum, and you click on the profile to see where it's at, and it's just like, oh, yeah, this guy gets a shuttle up into Saturn every like other Wednesday. Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy, man. The day is pretty long sometimes, guys. Got to make sure to drink your water.
You have breadstick up your ass, me.
Stay hydrated, everybody. And truly, I think the most unnerving thing for me when I really look at this, and I look at how we get to where we are in System Shock with, our Hacker Man 3000 fighting against the evil big bad, is the fact that it's already common knowledge we're all basically being fed advertisements endlessly. All of our searching, all of our shopping habits, all of it's already been cataloged by some scary machine somewhere. And that's the first steps into what's happening inside of the story of System Shock. It's no secret that inside that world, Tri-Optima basically owns everything. and that's because of that bill that passed, allowing them to do that. But it's because they own everything that they also produced one of the really, really famous, well-known, spooky, hello? Look at that. That's spooky. That's horrifying. Bad guys that we've ever faced. And the big bad is named Shodan. Yeah, you guys heard of Shodan. If you know your game lore, you know Shodan. And truly, not to sound like a dead hacker here, but because the corporations Tri-Optimum and then a secondary competitor corporation called TetraCorp, they're competitors with each other inside of the lore. It's insane because basically Tri-Optimum owns one half of America and TetraCorp owns the other half. It's pretty insane. It's really just like the dichotomy of seeing the big blue retailer versus the big red retailer. I always just joke around with my friends like that in high school and say, like, wouldn't it be crazy if they got into wars with each other? Well, here they did. But that leads into the fact that Shodan is a very, very, very powerful cybernetic construct, really just assembled from some of the most intricate, networks that Tri-Optimum has to offer. These things are so powerful, specifically Shodan and any other AIs that they created are just so innately powerful that because of someone like you being the hacker makes a deal with Edward Diego, which was the CEO of Tri-Optimum, to overwrite and make Shodan basically operate without any moral constructs. Well, yeah, we see how that goes. It's not good. And that's just what you see in the first System Shock on the station. It makes me think, because we have so many different cybernetic constructs ourselves right now, even though they're very expensive and consumerism is making it not really easy to get a hold of one as it is inside the System Shock universe. I mean, imagine going to the Tri-Optimum or the TetraCorp website, toilet paper, synthetic chicken, and then like a autonomous weapons platform, like all in the same order. That's literally what they probably do in that universe, and that's kind of scary because that's might be something we may do in the next 30 years. Anyway, it's because of this their ability to overwrite and redirect things like that that it causes so much of a enormous catastrophe for humanity, for Tri-Optimum, for the Citadel station that the first game takes place on. What this strikes to me is that because it is happening in such a localized place, which is the Citadel station, we kind of have a lot of really devastating stuff that we do as a country and as a nation that's tied into electrical systems. I don't mean nuclear weapons or things of that nature, but our power grid, your hospital records, like personal information is all tied into this kind of AI that Shodan was pretty much built to be like, just a holographic version of it. And you take away, or have the ability to take away, ethical restraints on that construct, and it's like, look what we did. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is insane. The chat bots that you go to on the websites when you're paying a bill, when you're getting groceries, things of this nature. Imagine if somebody went ahead and disabled any ethical restraints they have. They would probably turn your device into a bot, or even worse, they would probably, find a way to exploit people. It's really scary. Our creations are very powerful. Tri-Optimum's creations are very, very powerful. But look what happens when it gets into the wrong hands. All in all, I think System Shock really does a great job of showing what happens when you create something so inherently powerful and it has a vulnerability. That vulnerability being the fact that you could turn what should be good and, the ethical constraints, you can turn that off or find a way to disable that. Like, just the thought of that is insane. And we already have weapons that are AI powered. Like, we already have really scary stuff that can do a lot of damage that's powered by machine learning AI. System Shock does an incredible job of asking a very important question. And that important question is, what happens when the things that we have invented and created are so powerful, we imbue them with so much of an ability to think, to rationalize, that it essentially becomes a human being with, for lack of a better terms, godlike powers. That's really what Shodan is. The acronym stands for something. It's like her name stands for something. I can't remember what it is right now. But the fact is that because there is a possibility even that you could turn off an ethics switch on the actual AI itself is truly, truly where the core of the horror comes from. We've seen a ton of different tropes like this. Terminator, Battlestar Galactica, Matrix. It's the idea that we created our creations to be so powerful that they have to mirror us in a way. And System Shock is an adventure basically of undoing that decision. In the beginning, your character, the hacker, essentially makes a deal with Edward Diego, the CEO of Trioptimum. And if you play the game, you know where it goes from here. But essentially, they make a handshake. He disables Shodan's ethical constraints. Imagine having an Alexa home or any type of other Google product that has access to like your gas stove, your garage, your car, and somebody being able to remotely turn off the ethical constraints on that and legitimately crashing your car in the middle of the road whenever they feel like it, or not letting you out of your car, or turning up the gas all the way. Really some Final Destination type stuff controlled by one of these AI models. And that's exactly what a lot of different corporations and businesses are doing nowadays, is that a lot of their decision making is up to AI. Truly horrifying stuff. And if there is a vulnerability where the ethics and the consideration for human life can be disabled, like what happens with Shodan, I mean... No, God! We see what goes on. It's not good. It's not good, guys. It's not good. And I'm going to be... And everybody, my fellow Brightsiders, I gotta be so honest here. Games need to bring back snacks. Oh shit! Oh shit! It's a really small detail, but that's one of the aspects that makes System Shock so gripping, is that you really do feel like you are this hacker in this world on Citadel Station. You have snacks. Like, that kind of breaks a barrier to let the player know instinctively that you're really out here. You're really doing this. You are really him. But like, seriously, having that snack feature is so cool. I want more games to have snacks. Like, we need snacks in games again. I think that's just so awesome. I don't know. Maybe it's because really the only thing I play is Halo Infinite, Battlefield right now. And some Battlefront. Battlefront's doing pretty good, but it's a great thing to have inside that game because it really just shows that you're surviving, and the snacks, the snacks are all pretty bad for you in System Shock. I don't think they have such thing as actual food anymore. It's all synthetic, as the vending machine says. Ooh, I hate those kind of snacks. Ooh, I hate those kind of snacks. But yeah, everybody, at the end of the day, System Shock was more than a game. More than a game that changed so many things in the world of gaming. System Shock was more than just a great story that asked all of us to ask these hard questions and to face everything happening in our modern world with how far can we go and how far should we go with corporations, with technology, with mixing those two things together, and what will that mean for the rest of the human race? Looking Glass Studios created something that is truly special, will always be truly special, will always have renovated the entire economy of what shooters nowadays also have to offer as well. It's truly been stated, and I really think there's some truth to it, that System Shock paved the way for a lot of things that paved their own way inside the world of gaming, especially for shooters. I think it was one of the first titles that legitimized a shooter game having a real, true, gripping story. And it does. I mean, really, that shit is But yeah, everybody, I think these are the solid questions that System Shock asks us to look at and to analyze. I know I have. Big thanks to everybody who's seen this video. Big thank you if you're watching. I appreciate it so much, Brightsiders. I have much more content on the way now that my job schedule is more consistent. But yeah, everybody, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I'll catch you all in the next one, gamers.